Thank you for sitting down with us for this beautiful chat, Celeste. Of course, I'm with a very special guest for this podcast episode, Celeste Louw, an author, a child abuse survivor, and an advocate of note. Thank you once more. I think what we're starting here today is going to be monumental. I think it's one for the books, honestly, the kind of conversation we're opening up for the world.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, before we even get started into the nitty-gritty of things, what made you agree to sit down and talk on camera? I mean, of course, as a writer, you do this quite often and you do media, but this kind of chat is a bit more intimate.
I think the difference with this one is it's about my story. So I do it. I don't know that I do it that often, and I don't often do it professionally. So that's one thing. But I think that we need to have real conversations and courageous conversations. So one of the reasons that I wrote the book was because I wanted to talk about being on a journey to healing and living a different way and being solution driven in a GBV space.
Oh, yes.
And so those are all things that are really important to me. So anything that can make anyone, so if there's one person that hears this today who reaches out for help, who changes their life, who reclaims their life, then that was the purpose.
Oh, a beautiful purpose. You're already touching on what I would say is my first question, the solution to it all. With a challenge as massive as GBV-F, I don't think it's possible for us to say there's one solution because it's so complex. It's so, I think, very individualistic in the way it presents even. You know, every story is different. No two stories are the same. But you also offer words, I think, powerful words in your book when you say the solution lies with us.
Yes.
Please unpack that for us.
So the solution is inside all of us, right? The answers to all of your questions and healing and connecting with who you are is inside of you, right? And the solutions to people being violent and aggressive and people living those kind of choices is also inside of them. But we have to tap into what makes us uniquely us. But it's a little bit more complicated than that because we also have to tap into how do we fit into community and living in community. So if you look at the world today, people live isolated and they live in protection. So your brain is wired for protection or connection. When you've been abused, the chances are you're going to isolate, you're going to live in protection. And unfortunately, the answers aren't there. So you have to get new information.
Yes.
Right? And that new information will lead you to more questions about yourself. And the answer will be inside of you.
Oh, absolutely beautifully put. Honestly, I think the way you write, the way you articulate some things really did leave me astonished. It made my mind work in different ways. I think some of the poems you share throughout the writing as well in My Journey, My Way, one of the poems that stuck out to me, there's the lines that read, "You were the one who did the wrong. Why is it I who must be strong?" And it speaks to a strength and a courage that's inexplicable, that survivors need to carry. Are there any words you can share for someone out there who maybe feels they need a reminder that they can do it, they can face another day, they can carry on, they can be strong?
So I'm going to tell you a secret. I wrote that poem when I was in university. So when I had just left home. And when I just started getting some sort of therapy, asking questions about how did this happen to me? Why am I this? And I think the thing is that people need to understand is this. When you're being abused, that you are suffering the repercussions of someone else's actions, right?
Yeah.
But once you've been through an abusive incident, this thing happened. It happened. You already survived. The problem is, you don't know that you survived. So what happens is you start living inside your pain and you finish the job that your perpetrator started. They can walk away and they still have power over you. And you finish it because you don't realize that you already survived. What you have to do is process. But we don't learn how to, nobody teaches you how to process stuff. Who teaches you that? They just go, you really need to get over this.
Yeah, deal with it.
And so the problem with you really need to get over this is that's why people are calling out. That's why they're going to counselors and psychologists and looking for answers and talking to their friends. And then people go, but just get over it. And you're going, but I'm trying to figure out how. So part of my journey was learning the how. And so part of what I do as a healer when I'm doing healing work is I teach people how to process, like practically teach them how to process. Because I kept going, I understand what you're saying to me, but you're not telling me how to do it. Oh. So if I sit here and I think about what happened over and over again, will it eventually just cure itself?
That's not going to happen.
You know, I don't. So I think that our approaches to dealing with trauma need to be different.
Yeah.
So there is a big move towards trauma-informed care, but I think there's even more to that. And the one thing is that you can't heal people. You have to guide people to their own healing.
Oh, maybe I can steal a tip of guidance with my next question. I think a traumatized mind knows the concept of triggers all too well. Yes. I think that's something all people, even who aren't survivors of abuse, tend to have to face. Maybe if we can steal from your pocket of tools what you would find, you know, helps you deal with them on a daily basis when you come across some triggers.
So I think the thing is a lot of people are afraid of triggers. You got to think about that.
Yes.
So, but let me ask you this. Do you have a happy memory?
Yes.
And do you have a trigger linked to your happy memory?
Not necessarily.
Wow. So I have a happy memory. Let me give it to you. Okay. When I was growing up, my gran used to bake and bake and bake and bake. And so when I walk into a bakery, I kind of like jump back into that feeling of love from my grandmother, absolutely, that kind of thing. That's also a trigger.
It's also a trigger.
So nowadays they call that a glimmer. So a trigger is your brain going, you're in danger, right? Because you don't know it. Your body remembers. Your body doesn't realize, your automatic responses don't realize that you're not in danger anymore. So they go, whoops.
Alert.
You're in danger. And so you react as if you're still in that place. Oof. So the thing that you need to do is, the first thing you need to do is you need to recognize your triggers. That's the hard bit, because most people, they have the panic and they have the anxiety, whatever. Then they avoid that place or that thing, and you can't avoid your triggers. Triggers are signposts to healing. They're telling you, I'm not okay about this. I need to do something. I need to rewire my alert system, right? So some of the things that you can do, and it's one of the simplest, is this. When you are triggered, you forget to breathe.
Breathing exercises. So
if you can breathe, if you can remind yourself to just breathe. So we talk about square breathing, which is a 4-4-4. 4, breathe short in on a slow count of 4, hold for a slow count of 4, release on a slow count of 4, take a bit of a break going. Don't do it too fast or you'll pass out. Okay?
Sure.
So that is one mechanism, but there's all different types of breathing exercises. Some people like the 5-4-3-2-1, which is like 5 things I can see, 4 things I can hear, etc.
Smell.
I never use that because it gets too complicated in my brain.
There's too many files.
Or you can count. The other thing that really works is cross-body repetitive motion. It sounds funny. That's why you'll see people will walk. Because when you're doing that, your brain can't focus on being flipped. Right? It
has to be symmetrical.
Because when you're triggered, your brain is actually off. You're walking purely in automation. You are reacting, not responding. So your brain is off. So if you walk, your brain switches back on. Or you can do this, right? Which is like giving yourself a hug. At the same time, some people don't like it, but those little things, they work. The other thing that I do is use a grounding stone. So I always have a grounding on me, a grounding something. So what you basically do is you go and you sit for a minute and you meditate. You remember a happy time. When you feel that happiness, then you hold an object in your hand, right? And you push on these 2 fingers like this. And you hold it for about a minute. And then you repeat. So I do 3 is the trick, right? 3 times.
3 times.
And then what happens is it's not an immediate effect. It's not like taking a pill.
No.
So what it is when you're feeling nervous or stressed or you're anxious, whatever, you can hold on to the thing. And because you've programmed it to that happy emotion, it'll start to bring you down.
Like you're regulating.
Yes.
Oh,
and you'll see a lot of people do it. So if you know a lot of people who wear symbols of their faith, you'll often see them holding onto them.
It.
They're grounding without realizing they're grounding. The same as meditation or meditative prayer or yoga. All of these things are actually grounding techniques. In fact, humming works.
Oh, and like hitting on the chest sometimes. Like
so what you're doing is You're exercising your vagal nerve. So all of those things work. But you know what also works? Connection, laughter.
Okay. Just
Exercise
get a
this
laugh
nerve.
out there.
And all of those things can bring you back into the present, into the moment. And so I think for people who are triggering badly, those are all very, very good exercises to use.
I'm going to take some of that with me.
Ice cold water
Ice
as well.
cold water. Okay. Drink it or submerge?
Drink.
Drinking ice cold water.
Because what you're doing is you're getting it to the nerve. Yeah.
Okay. Noted. I mean, you work very closely with a lot of survivors and you are one yourself. I think when you are someone who maybe knows a survivor or from the outside looking in, you wonder if there were ever signs that you could have been aware of. What could potentially be some of those signs, and how do we as loved ones maybe step in without overstepping boundaries, without causing false alarm? How do we help?
I think the thing is you've got to look for certain things. So one thing is change in behavior, like real change in behavior. They were extroverted. Now they're introverted. You know, they always used to come out with you. Now they don't come out with you. There's shifts in mood that you can see. With children, that's the biggest thing. The big shift in, they were doing really well at school. Now they're doing really badly. But don't also underestimate that. They were doing really badly and now they're doing really well.
Okay.
Is another one as well.
Way.
Yes. So you look for changes in behavior, and you can also listen for the excuses, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't come out with you tonight because XYZ. It's never because of the other person, but you know it is. And I think when you're addressing it, you have to be careful. So you need to remind the person who they are. You're worth more than this. You know, you are uniquely beautiful and worthy just the way you are. And open the door for that. Courageous conversation is a big thing. With your children, with each other, with your parents, courageous conversation. We don't have enough of it, like real conversation. Not, hello, how are you? No, I'm fine.
And then you just move on.
And just move on. So that's the one thing. The other thing that you can do to get real advice, if you know someone who's in trouble, is you can phone us. So can I give the number?
Absolutely.
08000 83 277. 24/7 for free.
Toll free. Love that.
So that's really important. So you can phone that number anytime and you can give your concerns. And so people who are experts in their field, people who understand GBV and understand all the intricacies can help you. Because there's a lot in our law and there's a lot in our societies that people don't understand. So if you phone that number anytime, we'll be there for you and we can help you to help other people or to help yourself.
And speaking to people who might want to help themselves, they realize, okay, I'm in a dangerous situation, maybe even a life-threatening situation. What makes going to something like a safe house or a care center, how does that benefit me when I don't even know if these people have the best interest at heart? And how do I know that it's better to be at a safe house than where I'm at right now?
I think trust is the problem there, right? So trusting anyone to help you and believing that someone can help you, because a lot of what you are going to see is going to be someone intimidating you to believe that no one's going to believe you or no one's going to help you. So safe houses for me are a last resort. And I think people need to understand that. The best way is to have an exit strategy, to actually plan to safely leave, especially if you're employed, if you have kids in school, all of that. So phoning an organization like Tears Foundation, right, and then working on an exit strategy is better. But you can phone us and we'll help you find a shelter. So shelters are temporary solutions to long-term problems.
Yes.
But if you are in a life-threatening situation, a shelter might be your option. But I think you need to look at all your options and you need to know what your rights are and how the law works.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's why phoning people who are experts in it is a better idea. And don't listen to someone who hasn't been there. Or who hasn't got that information, because the problem is people give other people very bad advice.
Oh, and that sucks because it leads you astray and you end up falling on the wrong path and 100%. It messes with your journey.
100%.
Sure.
And often people will go like, oh, you'll get two different types. The one is just leave. Right, like it's that
it's
easy.
easy.
And then the other one is you made your bed, now you have to
lay
sleep in it.
You're bad at choosing men, those things. Yeah.
Yes, without understanding grooming, without understanding the repercussions of child abuse, without understanding how bad it is. And not just for women, right? Across the board. Because I think if we had a study we could trust, she said, with her tongue in her cheek, we would find that child abuse is across the board, across the genders.
Yes.
Probably about 1 in 2.
Oof. Oh, man. I think it hurts when you start thinking about it like that, and somehow it's hard to get the right information out there, because we as society now have that responsibility. I think with social media, it's even more dangerous. So I think my next question to you would be, how do we as people, maybe even as the media, how do we dignify the survivor's narrative so we can tell the whole truth without being insensitive to the privacy of the matter as well?
I think the thing is, one of the saddest things is the most people want to interview a survivor, right? And then they want to do it, and I'm going to say it like this, with gladiator syndrome, right? They want to hear all those horrible details, and it's got to be really difficult, and this poor survivor must cry,
relive everything,
and they must be, they must perform their pain. So I think the worst thing that we're doing is making survivors perform their pain. I don't think you should ever have to perform your pain. I think that just saying, this is what happened to me,
is enough.
Should be enough.
Absolutely.
I don't think that we should make them, but I also think that you should allow people the grace to heal before they should have to speak. And they shouldn't feel pressured to talk about things they're not ready to talk about. But I do think that we live in a world where people have a tendency to want to experience other people's trauma vicariously.
Yes. I know someone who went through this. I know someone that it does embellish one's own personal story somehow to be able to say, I know of this. Yeah.
And it becomes competitive.
Ugh.
And I think trauma competition is a really bad thing because no matter how big the incident was, the repercussion is the same. Right? So for some people, they'll grow up in a family where no one ever swore, they were treated well, they go into an environment and someone swears at them and they are so traumatized, and you're thinking, someone just swore at you. What is your problem? But that was as traumatic as somebody else being beaten for them because it was so outside of their experience or their understanding of the world.
Yeah, trauma is immeasurable. It is. I think, speaking to your choice of the way you write, the way you wrote, and you speak about how you didn't want to give the heavy details in your writing, you just wanted to tell the story, and how sometimes people do create trauma porn, and that's not what you are out to do. Can you talk to us about your intention and the decision, the choice to protect some of those details in your story specifically?
So in my story specifically, I wanted to do a couple of things. I didn't want to tell my sibling's story. I didn't want to tell my children's story, so I managed to kind of cover it without getting into too much detail, so you could understand there was something there, but without having to speak their truth, because I can only speak my own truth. The other thing is, I don't think that I should have to traumatize other people with all those nitty-gritty details and how it felt in the moment and all that. I don't think that that's necessary. If I say to you, this is what happened, I was raped at age 11 and it happened like this, that should be enough. I shouldn't have to
get into the details.
No, I shouldn't have to. And I shouldn't have to perform it. And I shouldn't have to now, where I'm at now, years later, after years of healing journey, have to try to cry now, because if I don't cry, then no one's going to believe me.
It's so terrible, because we are, as society, as the listener, as the receiver of someone's pain, we are responsible for putting that weight on you as a storyteller, on you as a survivor as well. Ooh, it's a lot.
I'm going to tell you a story. I was once said to me, you know, when you tell your story like that, it's really boring. And I was like, excuse me?
No way.
What are you talking about? And then I realized that there's this whole kind of culture of trauma porn.
People want to hear the scary details. Oh, man. And I think part of healing, I think, and you speak about it very well in your book as well, you speak about some of the stuff you still have to struggle with. You're still dealing with the procrastination and the food relationships as well, something I deeply connect with. And I think a lot of people probably do. And just because it doesn't have a label that it's a certain disorder, doesn't change that you have a problem with your relationship with food, I think. And so what does healing look like for you today?
So if you knew me through my life, so I'll tell you a few secrets. So the first thing is I've had a weight problem my whole life. So you won't say it if you look at me today. In fact, I still surprise myself when I walk past a mirror. So I've had a weight problem my whole life, and comfort eating was my thing. And also we're Lebanese, so we eat for everything.
Yes.
We eat when we're happy and we eat when we're sad. We eat when people come to visit. We eat.
All the
we
time.
live in the kitchen. We do that whole thing. But what it became from me was a way to hide and a way to protect myself, I think. So actually, my healing from that only started about 2-3 years ago.
Sure.
And what happened was I started to feel really tired during the day, right? So I spoke to my brother overseas and he said to me, why don't you go and have your blood sugar tested?
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I've had 46 operations, 3 hip replacements. I am not injecting insulin. No. So when I went, obviously my sugar was very high. And my brother sent me something called the Real Foods diet. And it's so easy because it's green, orange, red. Eat the green, avoid the orange, don't eat the red. And so because I was so scared of the insulin, I did that diet. Sure. And so I've lost 60 whole kilos, a whole person, 60 whole kilos over the last about 2-3 years. But what came with that is having to face certain things. So facing the fact that I was hiding behind my weight. And why was I hiding behind my weight? And why was I... Because I never used to look after myself. I never used to do the hair or the makeup or any of that. And I used to wear it like a badge of honor.
Yes.
And now I've realized that what I was doing is hiding so that I couldn't be a target. And it took me a while. So over the last 3 years, some extra work. But also over the last year, other things have happened. So, so I had to walk that journey. Now I have a different relationship with food, but I do recognize in myself the trigger to comfort eat.
Oh, yes.
So it's still something I have to watch. But now it's just different because I've seen that it's not impossible. So for me, if anybody wants to see that healing is possible, I think that you have to see big changes like that to realize it. But what people don't realize is they're probably healing every day and they're not keeping a record of their victories. They're keeping a record of their failures.
Sure.
So every day you keep a record of your victories, no matter how big. I got out of bed today. Gold star. I said no to someone. Gold star. Those kind of things. Yes.
I think it's
so.
beautiful.
So star charts for me are like a really big thing as well.
I think one is speaking to the community of people that you have through your journey as you're healing. You quote, bleeding on those who haven't hurt us. And that speaks, I think, to the closest in our lives being those who experience the loudest echoes of our pain. How do we manage those echoes without stifling or silencing some of the cries within?
So the thing is, we have to have courageous conversation, but you also need to be able to recognize the shadow inside of you. So I'll tell you a quick story. One of my sons was 16 years old and defiant. And we were in a bit of an altercation, a loud verbal altercation. And I caught myself with him up against the wall, holding him down, going, I will not let you treat me like your father. And then I realized, hang on a minute, this is about me. This is not about him. And so I walked away, calmed down, and then we did what? Sat down and had the conversation. This wasn't about you. This wasn't about this. Those are the ways that we can change. But we have to be able to recognize the fact that we all have the shadow inside of ourselves.
That is, I think, something a lot of people will probably even think deeply about, especially with parent disagreements. When the comparison comes, you're just like your mom or you're just like your dad. It's something that I think a lot of people will feel deeply as well. I mean, just in closing, you did tease in the beginning of My Journey, My Way that we might see a sequel soon.
Yes.
I found it to be a great read, a soothing digest as well. I would recommend anyone looking to also broaden or expand their perspective on the topic to get the book My Journey, My Way. Tell us how we can get that book. Are there sequels coming? What's in the pipeline for you? But also where your advocacy efforts see you today.
Okay, so you can get the book directly from me I'll give you the details
Plug,
so you can
plug.
put them up. Yes, so you can get them directly from me. You can contact me through Tears Foundation anytime. You can email us. It's info@tears.co.za, and I'll get you a copy of the book. Yes, there is a sequel on the way.
Yay.
So just as a teaser, my stepfather passed away last year. It was a hard year because I had to face a whole bunch of new things. So all of that will be in the sequel and hopefully next year for that. But there is another book that is about to be launched called The ABC of Healing. So that will be on the go really, really soon, hopefully within the next month or two.
Yes.
And at the moment, what I'm doing is, so I'm at Tears Foundation. I'm the General Manager of Operations. So we're doing a lot of good work. We've got our Hope Centre, which has the call centre where you can phone in 24/7, but it's not just like a normal call centre. So you phone in. We'll help you to make choices for yourself. We're not going to make choices for you. We will refer you for all the different services you need, but we'll make sure that you get the help that you need. So not only do we do referrals, but we case manage. So we make sure, and you know, a criminal case can take up to 8 years in South Africa. So we will walk that journey. That's our commitment. Our commitment is from crisis to healing. So we have the Hope Centre, and then we also have Speak Up, which is a video program that you can get through for youth, that you can get to through our USSD. So that's *134*7355#. I hope I got it right. And there you can data free. All our services are completely free. And there data free, you can watch and have courageous conversations about things like consent and teenage pregnancies and stuff.
Beautiful.
All those conversations your parents don't want to have with you.
Yes.
You can go have them, and parents, you can go have those conversations
as well.
and know what to say to your kids.
Everyone
So
gets something.
so there's that. And then also we're starting a training academy that is doing Bridging the Gap training for frontline responders, but also for corporates.
Okay.
So all of those things, and still have my foot in the biking.
Oh man, biking. And there's a lot of initiatives as well that you're doing through that with
Yes.
combating GBV-F as well. So
Yes.
I mean, thank you so much. All these resources are also at the back of the book.
Yes.
And it's been awesome. I'm very grateful and honored that you've come through, not only to share your story, but also to give us nuggets of knowledge, just some of the right information that we need out there, whether you're an ally, whether you are a survivor. I hope this episode brings you a little bit of peace inside.